This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg. Hello and welcome to the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg. I am Zach, and as always, joined by the usual host of this podcast, Greg. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. It's Monday. Still feeling blue from the weekend. I mean, it's Blue Monday anyway, and we've got to try
that's not a good thing on the week that we play Pompey, mate.
No, you got to try and it's hard to not look past the game on Wednesday to the more exciting game at the weekend, but I don't know. I don't know, mate. Hopefully you're going to bring me some good news to cheer up my week.
News. Does that help? I've tried to structure today's episode a bit more. I feel like I myself am getting more and more rambly, and I think it's as I'm getting more and more frustrated. I just want to make sure that we have some points written out, and we're just a bit, just a modicum more professional, Greg. That's not our bag usually. But I just want to seem like I'm less like a rambling madman on a daily basis, despite the fact that is what Saints is doing to me. So today, which is exciting, it is Transfer Tuesday, and I'd love to tell you that I've got a plethora of targets lined up for you. However, it's just not the case. It's just not in this window.
Slim pickings, isn't it?
Slim pickings is slim pickings, mate. So
we can't say we weren't warned though. Like we were told it's going to be a quiet January.
True, but
we were all hoping that was a bluff. But
it very much feels like everything is for the preparation of next season, which isn't going to be in the Premier League, right? I don't know if that's the vibe you're getting, but talking about sort of the stuff in the summer. And when Alfie asked on Friday, the build up to Hull, what is the transfer sort of news and business, and they're sort of like, oh, we might make a move if it's the right player, but it might be something instead to discuss about in the summer. And the fact that they're already thinking that far ahead means I feel like they've kind of already written off this season, but probably don't want to say that out loud. The idea that we're still pushing for promotion at this point is a bit of a joke, but
yeah,
I don't know. Stranger things
we have to be careful not to write the season off too much, because as you are quick to point out, it's not that far behind us. In fact, someone pointed out to me that if we lose to Sheffield United and Pompey win in the week, and then Pompey beat us, they put us in the relegation zone.
Well, he was late to his press conference because he was giving some home truths. Hopefully any of them listen to it, right? That's kind of where I'm at. But obviously today we're not here to talk about the depressing part of the club. We're here to talk about transfers. So one of which, because of the fact that we are that level of slim pickings, Greg is a staff member. So you'd have noticed that we've brought in another analyst. Greg, are you excited by this prospect?
Yeah, sure.
You let me know this morning. I read George Rees-Julian article.
Look, here's the thing, right? It is I have said for weeks we should have been faster off the bat and be giving Tonda the team around him that he needs, right? And that will include things like analysts, right? It's just that's great, good. We're doing it, and finally sort of doing that. But I mean, it's a bit of an anticlimax, isn't it? The comment I saw on Facebook was the one that summed it up for me was, can he play up front?
Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like a lot of these appointments would usually be completely under the radar if it wasn't for the fact that people are sort of waiting for any news about potential transfers, and what's actually happening is we're hearing this, that, the other, and then all of a sudden a member of staff comes in. And to be fair, analyst profiles, they're making up a lot of what go on to be now directors of football, right? These are the kind of guys that in 10, 20 years might end up being, for example, the Johannes Spors of another club. So it's always worth just keeping an eye on them.
Bet you're
Yeah, but
putting me off this
it's
announcement
yeah, but
even more.
it's accurate. But I thought you'd tell you about the guy. So George Reece Julian does a nice little article. I dug a tiny little bit deeper, but not too much. So he's from the old reliable Bundesliga 2, as we know, exactly the same as the
Classic.
Championship.
Yeah.
Coming from Hanover 96, he was already with the analytics team for the whole game. He'd already started by that point. He is a UEFA B licensed coach, was only at Hanover from July last year. Before that, he was an analyst for SC Paderborn, who are also in Bundesliga 2 from 2021, but started his analytics career at FC St. Gallen in the Swiss Super League. He has had coaching experience before then, but they are a semi-professional Canadian team, FC London. So take that as what you will. I don't really know what qualifications you need to do analytics. I don't, feel like most people probably know at this point I'm far more vibes based, and that's probably one of my issues. Greg is probably the more analytical one out of the two of us, but also, yeah, fair enough. One of the things that I have noticed is he does have a social media presence. He does seem to genuinely just like love the game. Like doesn't seem to be have an allegiance to any sort of like specific team and stuff. Yeah, I've seen quite a fair posts about Liverpool and bits and pieces. But he just seems to really enjoy football and care about it. And ultimately, that's the kind of people you want in those jobs, right? So hopefully it ends up helping bolstering an ailing team. But it's got to be tough to arrive, sit down in that analytics bench and not understand why the entirety of the crowd of this new team you've joined that were ex-Premier League are like screaming and shouting. But is what it is. So I wish him well. But that unfortunately is technically counts as a transfer.
Do you know what? That's the really sad bit, right? Because look, you wouldn't expect someone coming into a role as an analyst to have a huge amount of information on them that we are able to sort of seek out and find. So, and I'm sure it'd be good, and I'm sure he's a solid addition to bolster the backroom staff. It just that's not going to be the resounding turnaround from what's needed at the weekend, is it? It's just
the only other thing it kind of screams at is like there should have been more staff. There should have been more of a back room anyway. Like it's a weird one to me because this is the kind of appointment that's like I don't think Will still had his own analysts, right? So is this just like something we've brought in? We've brought in somebody extra for an extra voice in the room, etc. It's just very I don't know. It's I don't know if it's just the multi-club model I'm really starting to hate. We thought and we spoke at length about how we just maybe it was a good thing that we brought in a manager that like doesn't have a specific style and isn't wed to a specific type of playing football. Greg, for a long time, I actually think that what's happened is they've gone so far the opposite after Russell Martin, and then they basically now just decided that the manager doesn't really do anything apart from like take training and get shouted at by the media.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's entirely true, but like again, the fact that we've seen such a turnaround in Tonda's form since he's been no longer interim, I just feel like there has to be something more. And the fact that he's playing essentially the Will Still team, I can't help but notice that maybe that's a decision that's out of his hands, especially with transfers as well. We've got transfers that have worked out, transfers that have been terrible. It's difficult to pay attention. But we will talk about another one, Greg. So it's not quite the exciting thing that you want it to be. Have you heard of Harrison Bertoni?
Only very briefly when I saw him linked with us from Wigan, right?
Correct. He is an 18-year-old. He plays for Wigan Athletic. He is a centre forward and mainly plays centre attacking mid. He just graduated from their academy, making his league debut in November. So he came on as
well trodden, well experienced striker like we're after. Then
I do not think that is. This is something that is being. This feels for me very much like a Ronnie Edwards transfer. They've seen someone that's a hot prospect and they want to get on this before they go elsewhere, right? That is very much what it feels like to me. But he has had sort of an instant impact. He came on as a substitute in his first league game in the 77th minute, Greg, and with his first touch scored an equaliser, and then went on to score the winner and got Wigan their first away win of the season. So that's a big deal. but he's had 4 goals and 13 appearances as a senior player. So, yeah. He also scored the only goal that knocked Preston out of their FA Cup over the Christmas period. So obviously, League One killing a championship team that are doing quite well. So yeah, like it's definitely one for the future. He doesn't have any Saints links. He's part of the Prodigy Sport Group, whose most famous name is Danny Welbeck. And I thought it was a bit weird that it was Danny Welbeck and just a bunch of players I'd never heard. And then I found out that it's owned by Chris and Wayne Welbeck, which means that it's just Danny Welbeck's family's agency. That's why he's the biggest team. So, it realistically looks like it's just something we're trying to do early on before anyone else comes in. But it's kind of, on the flip side, very odd that you've then got like Dom Ballard absolutely tearing up League One for Leyton Orient. Downs, our striker that was meant to, I guess, take his place, sat not on the bench, but sat over in Germany again, playing for Hamburg. He's made 2 appearances. He's played, I think, like 168 minutes or something like that. He's not scored in either of those appearances. So it's just kind of, I don't know. I don't want to be not positive about it because I think it would be a bit of a coup. He sounds really good. However, a lot of the media coverage is just like, why would he go to Southampton to sit in their under-21s when he's playing first-team football? And it's very much like when we think about like guys like Matty Fernandez, right? Who, to be fair, has played an instrumental role in West Ham's season this year. But there are lots of players that we've looked at and gone, well, they've been taken from us to go into an academy elsewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it though, Greg. That is basically the one actual player we've been linked with in the last week. Obviously, we've still got the other 2 that we've mentioned previously from France and the lad in Italy. We've heard absolutely nothing about them since being linked, which again, both of those young guys, both in under-21s internationals for their respective teams, both not experienced in this league at all. So take it with a pinch of salt. But Greg, do you know who is experienced in this league?
Poor, I've got a feeling I do, but I'll let you tell me anyway.
At time of recording, Breezer, Mr. James Bree, has now returned from loan. Charlton Athletic have confirmed it on their Twitter page. Tonda has already talked about what he wants to do with him. It looks like we want to utilise him alongside Gillett. I think it must be due to the fact that we're having such large injury concerns at right back, right? With Rorislev still not fit, apparently. Gillett still only managing to do about 60 minutes. Now that apparently we can play a back 4, but it just seemed kind of bizarre to loan him out in the first place. I'm guessing because they had these plans for Rorislev and Gillett earlier on. But it very much felt like when Bree went out, Gillett was brought in very last minute for covering, right? So now Rorislev, who was brought in as Premier League, I don't want to say pedigree, but a Premier League experienced player, hasn't really, kind of just out of contention, I guess, until he's fit.
Yeah, I mean, he's been struggling with fitness. It seems to have been just about getting back and then out again. But it was a strange one for me. I've always liked Bree and felt like he would do a job for us. He's more of a traditional fullback, so I would think more suited to a back 4. But honestly, who knows? Who knows? Probably stick him into the back 3 somewhere. But it's he would do well.
League experience, who's scored goals.
Look, honestly, he's a solid right back who was doing all right for Charlton, and I don't have a problem with him coming back and getting into the team because, I mean, frankly, at this point, we take anything, right? Like
says a lot, though, doesn't it? Big loan from Galatasaray. I don't remember how much Rorislev cost, but in the millions, and we've now elected to bring back a £500,000 right back bought during the Nathan Jones era. And I think that says a lot to Bree and his character and who he is as a player. And hopefully it will be nothing but a good thing and an asset, right?
Well, we talk about profiles of players as well, and he's a bigger player, who's good in the air, which is something that in defence in particular we're clearly lacking. So, absolutely. Getting back on. Why not?
Exactly that. Right, so now on to transfers out, mate. So, Juan Larios has returned from his loan at Cultural Leonessa. This is amidst a rumoured move away that we are yet to see. So, Do you know how much he joined for? Do you remember how much it was?
He was in this Man City academy bunch, right? So it
Yes, he
was,
was.
I don't know, a couple of million, I
Yeah,
guess.
£6 million in 2022, and hasn't played since November that year.
Mm.
I feel bad for the guy. Obviously, the injuries have been awful. They're trying to obviously clearly recoup some money for him, but it's just weird to me that there's nothing confirmed. They've brought him back off of loan. All we've got concrete wise is a bit of reporting from Alfie, and then also like Eckert saying that there are conversations taking place. Still
Yeah,
no
but
confirmed departure place or date, which is a bit bizarre.
I mean, as is the nature of the game, right? We've talked about this lots in the other episodes, right? It's could well be that there's a club that dead cert want him and have happily agreed terms with the player and potential terms with us, but are waiting for the other piece of the jigsaw to go. Like they're waiting for a player to move on to have the financial capacity to actually
Yeah,
like complete the deal. So it could just be that, and it's one of those ones that could happen legally split out of nowhere. We'll just see it all of a sudden. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame for him. I mean, injuries have obviously ruined his time with us. He was very promising in the games that he had, but I mean, he's another one. Talking about physical profiles, he is a child. He's a very, very small player, right? Like, I genuinely mistook him for a mascot on the pitch. So, like, it's not a lot to him physicality wise, and then especially in this league, that's it's not going to cut it.
it's one of those. It's one of those ones that's interesting because of the fact that we don't really know what could have been, because his career was like with us was cut off so short. So you could argue that that one's like, oh, what a complete waste of money. It's been on our books for years, but like I don't think any player you bring in like that you'd expect to pick up such a serious injury that puts them out for basically their whole career. Like that's 4 years with
Mm.
the club, barely a senior appearance, if one. Like, I can't remember if it was actually in the league he played, but yeah,
It was again.
hopefully.
I remember it was his debut was against Man United, but I don't remember in what
There you go.
competition that was
So
in.
back when we used to play Man United.
Yeah.
So moving swiftly on to the move that wasn't going to happen, but apparently is now back on. Ryan Fraser is supposedly in Australia, where he looks to be on loan until the end of the season with West Sydney Wanderers. Um, Another one that's supposed to be sorted out at the beginning of this week, but we have no word at time of recording. It's kind of a strange one because obviously, like Alfie was like, "Yeah, no, it's not happening," and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like, "Oh no, apparently he might already be in Australia for this move." I said personally, a sad one, a versatile player. You won't get the minutes that he probably wants, but a lot of these little loans and these little getting rid of people and sending people off because apparently
he
they're going to cover his loans, his wages is it's reeking of me of them starting to realise the financial repercussions of being an ex-Premier League team and
mm.
trying to basically get rid of everything that they possibly can. Right? Like,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not saying
because
fire sale, but
he is a high earner as well, right? And that's not
I'd assume
exactly
so.
what you want for. I mean, the rumor is that our top earners are Rebo, and he's a pretty close second. So that's not that doesn't match with his responsibility in the club.
If so,
And
that's
so
wild. I can't
yeah,
believe that he would be like the second most paid player. That's just
yeah,
man. Russell
I
Martin
mean,
would just pay him anything to play to beat it, wouldn't
yeah,
he?
and that's it, right? And like you say, he's a versatile player, but I mean, he hasn't really done a lot for us in the spells he's had this season. Didn't
Well,
really,
that's early in the season, right? But then since then, they've kind of moved him out of position, and at some point he was playing sort of the fellows role, and it didn't really hugely work out.
yeah,
So yeah, I think it's a bit of a sad one. Like I remember telling my wife about him, she was like, "No, not we, man," because like she came to the final with me, and you
yeah,
could see it's kind of it's upsetting, but sometimes it's like the right time to move on. And again, like we are
yeah.
starting to think about wages and speaking of that kind of thing with the rest of it, there's not really any movement on anyone you'd expect. Nothing to do with Joe Aribo. Apparently, Adozi could have had a move, but is looking to be integrated back into the squad. Apparently, he was going to play. I think it was coming back to the squad the week that Will Still got fired and then picked up another injury, and is now going to be slowly reintegrated back into the squad once he's not injured. Which again, I guess, is one of the reasons why it might end up feeling like a new sign-in. We genuinely don't know. It's been so long since we've seen him on the ball, and we don't know how he will adapt.
That's the problem, right? Though, because that's a long time to not play football. So,
well, yeah, is he going to have to do a remote? Well, apparently, he's not going to be in under 21s, but either's Aribo. Aribo's not being played in the under 21s to build up fitness. He's gone apparently 4 games now without being in the match squad. So, yeah, we haven't heard anything else about outgoings. I just think that the most surprising thing is obviously Baz was one that kind of everyone wanted and has happened. But I just think, like, Juan Larios, not going to lie, sometimes I just forget he's here because we haven't seen him so long. Fraser was the one that surprised me a little bit, but the kind of things, the ones you'd expect just aren't materialising, which I guess also says a lot.
The problem is, mate, that, people need to want them. So it's...
This is also true. But yeah, a Slim's Pickens episode, Greg. But I hope everyone has learned something along the way. The lad from Wigan, if he gets a go, that would be definitely a good thing for the future. Personally, I would see it kind of mad to give up playing, regular football in a first team, actually picking up goals to.
I mean, look,
but whatever.
There's a whole nother discussion to be had, on a different day about wanting to sign an unproven 18-year-old prospect from Wigan and the decision to let Don Ballard, who's now the top scorer in the league below us, go, right?
Yeah, but I guess the problem is that Don Ballard probably potential first team, but not in according to the analysts and wonderful people that run our football club, not good enough for our squad. This young lad clearly is going to go on the development list and be developed elsewhere. I very much doubt he's being brought in to go straight into the first team. But there we are. So, yeah, pretty sure, Greg, that's all we got time for today. So thank you very much for listening. Again, a lighter transfer episode than we'd have liked, but Southampton Football Club! So we're on all the social medias. We're on Facebook, we are on X, we're on Blue Sky, we're on Instagram, we are on YouTube. We are newly independent. So give us a like, give us a follow. We're going to try and make sure we get a full week of episodes out this week, because last week was difficult because of said transition to independence. So yeah, thank you very, very much for listening, everybody. And we will see you in the next one. Thanks, Greg. Bye-bye. This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg. Should have carried on waving for the whole of the bit where I said goodbye.